So I've got Metallica's new single, Lux Æterna, loaded up in Pro Tools here. And I'm just going to listen back to it and give you my reaction and opinion from a mix perspective and from an engineering production perspective. And I think it's super important as mixers and audio engineers to keep a pulse on what's happening in popular music, see what the best of the best are doing, the biggest bands, the biggest artists, and also the biggest, most highly paid mixers and producers. So let's dive in and see how it sounds. So right away, the thing that jumps out is that kick drum, right? That thing is insanely bright. I'm not saying it's bad. It's definitely, it's a vibe, it's a thing. But man, that really stands out. I mean, my first impression is pretty good. Like it sounds modern, but it also sounds not too perfect. If you compare this to like a more modern metal band or metalcore band, the guitars, the performance has a little bit of imperfection to it. Listen to this. It's tight enough that it sounds professional. It's not distracting. But if you compare that to other modern records, you can hear like for example, let me show you. Right there, like that last chord, he didn't quite nail it. No, is like you can hear him sliding his hand back down to get back to the restart of the riff without really like clearly letting those notes sing on the last chord. That's the kind of thing that on like 99% of modern metal records, you will not hear that. That will be punched in, that will be made perfect. And so this, I think, is a good production decision because it keeps the original like integrity of Metallica intact, I think. I mean, by the way, I'm not a Metallica fan. They were before my time. I didn't grow up being a huge Metallica fan. They didn't like introduce me to metal or anything like that. I basically never listened to them. So this is not biased. All right, let's keep going. Hear the bass come in there. It's pretty mid-rangey. Not a ton of low end happening. Let me check my headphones. There's a little bit of sub on the kick and on the bass guitar, but not a whole lot. I think it probably could have given some more kind of sub low end rumble from the bass, but it's the mid range that matters anyways, right? So let's keep going. Man, I've got to go back to that kick. It sounds really high up there, like a little higher than you'd normally boost that top end on a kick drum. Let's try and find it. It sounds like maybe like 10K. Yeah, it's like between 8 and 10K is just like cranked, and it's crazy cranked. So let me just give you an example here. If I pull in one of my kick samples, so here's a kick sample that I created. I use it personally in my mixes. And typically it's like got enough top end for most metal tracks that I work on, most rock tracks. I usually don't boost more top end on this, but it sounds dark compared to this Metallica mix. I mean, let's try and get a similar sound out of this kick sample. Yeah, it's got to be like that, but then we're kind of pulling up some mid-range frequencies. Yeah, it's that kind of smacky sound. Let's go back. Yeah, the attack on that kick is way up there, and that's a ton. Like, this is a kick sample that has already been processed with probably like 15 dB of 8K, and then I'm adding like 15 more dB around like 10K. So this is a bright kick. All right, let's listen more to the vocals.
Anticipation in domination, a sea of heartbeat as one unified magnification, all generations.
They're pretty standard. They're actually kind of wet.
Anticipation in domination, a sea.
Lots of delay. Sounds like maybe some reverb, or maybe the delay is feeding into a reverb.
Anticipation in domination, a sea of heartbeat as one unified.
But you'll notice they've kept the effects trails, like the reverb tail or the delay tail, pretty dark, so that the lead vocal still sounds pretty present and nice and up front, but then they've got the space around it that's filtered down. It's a lot darker.
Anticipation in domination.
That's a pretty common mix technique that you'd want to use. And there also sounds like automating up the tails of it. So it's not like the whole line is drenched in this effect. It's like at the end of the line, there's a little more of it to kind of fill in the gap between the next vocal.
Domination, a sea of heartbeat as one unified magnification, all generations, approaching thunder, awaiting the light. Full speed or nothing, full speed or nothing. Lux Æterna, Lux Æterna, yeah.
I mean, I like this mix. I think it's a good mix. I actually don't know who mixed it. I was trying to look it up. When you look at the credits here on Discogs, it just says producer Greg Feidelman. So maybe he mixed it. I couldn't find anywhere that said who mixed it. So if you know, drop a comment below. But I think this is good. It bridges the gap between that old school classic Metallica vibe with a modern sound that's going to stand up and compete with commercial records. And there's some stuff that's not safe. Like, you can't be too safe as a mixer. And this kick drum is a perfect example. Like, that thing is cranked on the top end. It's not safe. They've left some natural performance. I don't want to call it mistakes. I think it's tastefully balancing the line between sounding like a real guy playing a guitar and also, tight enough to sound professional and competitive.
Frenzy sensation.
One other thing I noticed I wanted to point out is you can hear the kick drum. It's either performed this way or it's automated, or probably both. You can listen on the downbeats. The kick drum is louder, like it jumps out.
Exhilaration, frenzy sensation, kindred alliance connected inside. Commiseration, sonic salvation, cast out the demons and strangle your life. Full speed or nothing.
You can hear it right there at the end of that fill. The first kick drum is a lot louder than the rest.
Your life. Full speed or nothing.
This is something I do in my mixes a lot, with automating up downbeats of kick drums at the end of fills, just giving it that extra impact. You can tell that the mixer has really tried to emphasize and almost overemphasize how this song would normally be played dynamically by the drummer. Let's just listen to a little more to see if there's anything I missed.
Lux Æterna.
That's cool. I mean, the solo's pretty dry and up front, very raw sounding. They've actually left a fair bit of low end in that solo. That kind of like muddiness around 200 there. Often you might reduce that or cut that out on a lead guitar, but they've left some of it in, which I think is cool. It just contributes to more of a raw, aggressive feel. So I think it's a solid mix. Kudos to whoever did it. Hopefully you guys can tell me in the comments and let me know what you think of this mix and any kind of technical aspects that jumped out at you that you want to share with us. I'd love to hear it. And by the way, if you want to learn more about how to mix a metal kick drum like this that is super bright, has tons of punch and attack, I've got a video tutorial right here that you can check out. All right, take care.